Hello, 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 and welcome back to my channel. After about a year, I've been gone a long time. So before I get into today's topic, I do want to just briefly say, the past year has been pretty rough. I had pretty busy. Kind of fell off the face of the earth in regards to YouTube because I had a close family member going to the hospital for about half a year. Had to take care of a lot of things in regards to that, keeping a full-time job, taking care of family, battling around a COVID. I also decided to buy a house. I was in a smaller place. I was in a transitional place in a condo for a while and decided to fight through this crazy real estate market at the worst time ever. So that took a lot of time, just a lot of things going on. Like I said, very busy at work. We are back in the office now, so I apologize for being gone, but I thought today would be a good day to come back because it was so interesting this morning when I got up. Shortly after, I saw a hot topic on Facebook, and the topic was about a young lady who says that she's constantly asked about her body count by young men that are approaching her for dating. And it appeared that this is happening on dating apps or before a relationship is really even going. Like, I didn't even know this was a thing. I'm older, so my generation's a little different. And this young lady, it was 27, I believe, and stating that this is just a common question that she gets asked: what's your body count? And when she tells them, because she is telling strangers her body count, they are turned off, don't want to pursue a relationship with her, or if they start to pursue a relationship with her and she discloses this information, they don't want anything to do with her. Well, she said her body count was 58. Now, to those of you that don't know what body count is, it's basically a way to ask the number of sexual partners a person has in their past. Now, I read through this thread. There's over 200 comments and people are debating the topic. And it seems to me that a lot of men feel entitled to this information. And it doesn't seem to be something that women feel entitled to. Like, they're not really curious the way this conversation was going about a man's body count, more so than a man is really stuck on or curious about a woman's body count. Now, like I said, this is not something I personally have had to encounter too much in life, but I will say this, okay? I have only had this question posed to me once in my entire life, and it was by none other than my narcissistic ex-husband that I shared a testimony about. And that's why I kind of wanted to incorporate this into a video, because it triggered me to that relationship. And that's the only time when I was married to a narcissist that this question ever came up. Now, it is natural for two people that are in a serious relationship or deciding to go into a commitment or enter into commitment or serious relationship to have conversations kind of around this, maybe about past relationships, things like that. But to literally sit there and talk about the number of sexual partners a person has had in their past, it's just never a question that has come up for me personally until I was married to the narcissist. And I kind of, at the time, accepted this question as acceptable because I felt like he had a tinge of OCD, which I still believe he did. And I always made excuses for these weird, bizarre inquiries, right? But the thing is, he was obsessed with knowing what my body count was. And back then, now mind you, I was married in my 30s. This was a while ago. I sat there and told him. I told him I wanted to make him feel comfortable. Whatever it took to increase his comfort level, I was there. I told him what it was. Okay? And I asked him what his was, and he gave me a fictitious number, which, you know, I'm sure that's what most people do. That's why I'm going to kind of explain why this is a pointless conversation in a minute. But this is the scenario that played out for me. Okay, so I gave him the number. He gave me mine. We kind of talked about it, and that was that. That was the end of it, right? One day, I came home from work, and I was in the kitchen cooking. Like, I'm a cook. I like to cook when I get off work, feed my family. My kids were still in the house. I was chefing it up. Go to open the trash can to throw something away, and at the top of the trash can is a shredded piece of paper. But it wasn't quite all the way shredded. It was like an attempt. There was an attempt to shred this paper, but it just was failed. So I kind of, picked it up out of the trash. It was laying at the top of the trash, and I'm looking at it like, what is this? Because I saw some names on this paper just laying at the top of the trash. They were familiar names. So I picked it up. I laid it down on the table. It was a list of all my exes. My long-term relationships. And I realized that my narcissist husband was trying to reconcile the number I gave him, a body count number, with the list of exes that he knew about to see if it lined up and if I was telling the truth. That's a little bit psychotic. That gave me a lot of uneasiness. Like, this is some stuff you see a person doing on the ID channel. I mean, this is just weird behavior. Why you would sit there and try to reconcile what I gave you with all the people that you know about from my past? You sat there and wrote a list, like it was a grocery list. Then you try to shred it, but I can still see what's on the paper. That was a huge red flag that this person was not mentally stable. That's not something a mentally stable or mentally secure person would do. It is not. This is not normal behavior. And to me, when I think about a person obsessing over a body count in their partner's past, it makes me think about the narcissist I was married to. And the funny part of it all is he had so many skeletons in his past, and so many issues that far outweighed any problems that he could even dig up or dream up by worrying about what my body count was. Major problems that were affecting our marriage that I just wasn't aware of. And he was just trying to find ways to maybe justify his behavior, find ways to devalue me. Oh, maybe he thought my body count was too high or too low, or I don't even know what he thought. But he really tried to reconcile it with what he knew. Strange, bizarre behavior. So when I see people obsessing about something like this, it's very triggering for me. And I wanted to just hop on here and kind of share that, since we've talked about narcissists on this channel and that experience, it was triggering. And I want to add my 2 cents to this. Ladies, I do not think it is healthy. I think it's very toxic for a man to obsess over your body count. Now, if you choose to disclose this to a person you want to marry or are very close to, engaged to, and it's relevant to your relationship, by all means, do it. But do not feel pressured to sit there and disclose the number of sexual partners you have in your past. Now, I'm going to say this. If you used to be a prostitute or a drug addict, or you were sex trafficked, or there was something crazy going on in your past, yeah, you should disclose that. And that's something that a person should know, just because it's affected your psychological, your psyche. So it's relevant. But it's not just because of the number of sexual partners that were in your past or people that you've had encounters with. It's relevant. But I'm trying to figure out, like this young lady, she said she had 58 partners in her past. That seems like a high number, but I am not here to judge anybody. And now there's a reason for that, okay? There's a reason why I'm saying I'm not here to judge anybody or say what's high or what's low. Some people go their whole life with one partner. Some people have multiple partners. I know someone that's had over 1,000 partners. To me, that is mind-boggling. I don't even know how that's possible, but it is. And it's happened. And there's people that have more than that. And look at Wilt Chamberlain. I don't even remember how many he had, but it was astronomical. There's people that have had 3. There's people, what is the magic number? I don't know. But what I'm going to say is there are different things people go through in their lives. There's people that might come from a place of trauma. There's people that might come from a place where they don't have self-worth, or they don't know how to value themselves, or they don't know self-love, and they seek validation in others, maybe through sexual experiences, and they get their body count up that way. And maybe later on in life they discover self-love and they heal and they change. So are you going to judge them for something they did in not childhood, but in their early years, and having behavior that might not be socially acceptable? There's people out there that just don't have any boundaries. I think that you'll see what kind of character the person has when you're dating them without actually knowing what their body count is. In this case, this girl had 58, she said. So are you actually just, every time you have an encounter with someone, writing their name down and keeping a list? How do you even know it was 58? To me, that brings me to another point. Who's keeping track? Unless it's a very low number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you're going to remember. It's very memorable. When you're off into the 10s, 15s, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 100s, do you really remember? So that brings me to the next point. Who's telling the truth? So you're going to ask someone what their body count is and they have 120, but they tell you they had 8. How are you going to know? There is no point to this conversation other than giving your mate ammunition to use against you later on down the line, or it's going to make them look at you different, or it's going to make them devalue you because they're placing a value on you based on what your body count is, or you're going to be lied to about it because they already know you're going to devalue them. And that, it's just all toxic. It's all toxic, no matter how you slice it. Yeah, there's instances where you might come up out of high school, you're a virgin, and you meet someone, you are deep into maybe the church or something, and you've been celibate, and you find your mate and you're both virgins or something. That's totally different, right? That's very rare. That'd be an awesome situation. You find someone equally yoked and you've saved yourself a marriage. Yeah, then that'd be a relevant conversation. But in today's society, it's just going to just cause problems. Now, what I do want to say is it is important to know your status. Now, if you get into a relationship with someone where you want to take it to that level, I am an advocate for celibacy. I'm actually abstinent, so which is not everybody's business, but I'm not coming from a place of this really isn't even applicable to me right now, but just from the outside looking in, whenever it does come to the point where I want to, get involved with someone, get married again, or what have you, this is kind of the path I'm gonna follow, because we live in a time where, and I can't really probably say it, but human eye virus is still relevant. It's still circulating. There's other things out there that are still relevant, still circulating, that can affect your health, that can affect your lifetime health, so you don't want to be ignorant to that. You don't want to be blind to it. You don't want to get into a situation where you are getting into an intimate relationship with someone and they have the virus. Next thing you know, you got the virus, and look at Gina too. That situation with her. I know it's been all over the internet. It's gone viral where she has contracted HIV. I said it. Human eye virus. I don't want to get a strike, but and it was left untreated because she wasn't getting tested often enough, and now it's turned into full-blown AIDS. You think she's the only one? I mean, this is happening. This is happening out there. Now, what I want to say to tag on to what I've been saying is, it doesn't matter if you've been with one person your entire life, if you've only been with your spouse your entire life, or if you've been with 500 people your entire life, you can still get it. It only takes one time. So that's where the whole knowing the body count doesn't really make sense, because you can still have a health issue on your hands if you've ever done it before. If you're not a virgin, even if you are a virgin and you had a blood transfusion, it can still be an issue. I mean, I remember years ago, because I'm such an investigative person, just kind of hearing some testimonies on YouTube, in fact, of different people that contracted the virus. And a lot of the testimonies I've watched, not all, but a lot, were saying, hey, you know what? I was married and I was faithful. Next thing you know, I was sick. I had flu-like symptoms and this happened and that happened. Next thing you know, I found out I had this, and it doesn't mean that they had a high body count. It meant, their spouse was messing around. So the whole body count thing is just irrelevant. The important takeaway is to be accountable for yourself. Because all those things I just said, people are going to lie to you about their body counts. No point in even talking about it. If they don't lie to you, it might just upset you, unless it falls in your acceptable range, whatever that is in your head. There might not even be an acceptable range in your head, because any information might just be too much information, especially if you have an easily bruised ego and you just can't handle it. It's just something I don't think people should even, a road you shouldn't even go down. The safest and best, most advisable thing to do is go get tested together if you are worried about a person's past and a person being infected, or a person bringing you illnesses you're not interested in getting. That's the best thing to do. That really is the best thing to do, and you should be responsible for yourself in making sure you do that. It's the only safe way. Knowing what a person's body count is not going to help you. Asking what a person's body count is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. It's just not. Have other conversations that kind of help you get to know what their morals are in life, what their morals were when they were younger, how they view, promiscuity. How do they view being in one-on-one relationships? You don't have to know what the body count is exactly. It's just fruitless. And it's toxic. It really is toxic. So I just wanted to hop on here and say that was just triggering for me, because it brought up a personal experience for me in what I was dealing with a very mentally unbalanced person. I just don't think it's healthy for people to get into that type of discussion. But please, I am begging everyone, be responsible for yourself. Get tested. If you haven't been tested, go get tested now. Even if you're single, even if you're celibate, even, if you haven't been tested before, really go look up Gina 2 if you need some inspiration, and see what untreated human eye virus looks like, and ask yourself, do you want to be in that situation? Go get tested for yourself. Don't worry about what other people's body counts are. Worry about you. Worry about you. And like I said, I am an advocate personally for keeping your body count low. But if another person hasn't, if they have a past where they haven't, I'm not here to say anything about that. I have 2 sons. I worry about them, but I'm not worried about what other people are doing. And I'm not worried about, people should worry about themselves, is what I'm trying to say. Worry about yourself. Worry about your health. I think the best route is to keep your stuff to yourself, but people aren't going to do that nowadays. So be responsible. Get tested. Don't be out here spreading stuff that can't be cured and can only be managed through medication. I just wanted to hop on here and say that, because we are facing a crisis. Everyone's focused on COVID right now, and they've totally, I think, in monkeypox, I think the world has kind of forgot that we still do have human eye virus running around. People are irresponsible, I know a lot of people are out there twiddling around without protection. So I just think it's really important to know, it doesn't matter what your body count was or what your partner's body count is. Anybody can come across this virus. Anybody can get it. So protect yourself. Be smart. And that's all I wanted to say today. It's real quick. And I'll be back soon with a topic to untangle. I just wanted to get this out here, and I'm just taking an opportunity to come back and say hello, and I'll be back soon to talk to you all. Woohoo! Happy Thursday. Bye.